Okay, students, we are going to wrap up our science lesson for the day and move on to our next subject. I will give you guys a few moments to wrap your materials up, put everything away, and bring your attention back to me. If you guys need any help cleaning things up, just let me know and I will come by and help you guys. Okay, thank you all for cleaning up. We are now going to be moving on to our English Language Arts lessons of the day. Like I said before, I did have a toe procedure, so I cannot stand up during this lesson, but we will have just as much time while I'm sitting down. Today we are going to be learning something new to you all, and we are going to make a fun day of learning out of this. So I'm going to be putting 3 words on my board and asking you guys to help me identify what they have in common. Okay, so I wrote these 3 words on the whiteboard. You all can see it, correct? Okay, so the 3 words are unhappy, undo, and untie. What do you guys think that these 3 words have in common with one another? Anybody have any guesses? Yes, Angela, what do you think? Okay, so Angela thinks that all these words have un at the beginning of them. Do you guys think that this is correct? Raise your hand if you agree with Angela. Great, so we all agree that these words have un in common at the beginning of them. Do you guys know what the un at the beginning of these words is called? Does anybody have any guesses? Raise your hand and let us know. Yes, Brad. Okay, class, so Brad has a guess that these at the beginning of the words are called suffixes. Do you guys agree with Brad? Raise your hand if you think that this is correct. Okay, so a few of you agree with Brad, but a lot of you did not raise your hands. So any of you that did not raise your hands, can you guys take a guess at what the un at the beginning of the words is actually called? Yes, Brady. Okay, class, so Brady thinks that the un at the beginning of the words is actually called a prefix. Do you guys agree with Brady? Yes, so the un at the beginning of these 3 words is called a prefix. Brad, thank you for being brave and sharing your opinion. You were actually very close, and we're going to be learning about suffixes a little bit later, so thank you. Now that we have discovered that the un at the beginning of the word is called a prefix, let's now try to figure out what the un at the beginning of the words does to the meaning of these words. Okay, so can somebody tell me what they think the word happy means? Yes, Rosie. Okay, class, so Rosie thinks that the word happy means to smile and feel good. That is a good definition of happy. Thank you, Rosie. Now, can you tell us what you think the word unhappy means? Okay, so Rosie thinks the word unhappy means to frown and feel poorly. Do we all agree with this definition of unhappy? Great, I'm glad we all agree. Can someone else in the room tell me, what do you think the word do means? Rory? Okay, so Rory thinks the word do means to complete something, like when you do your homework, you are completing your homework. That is very good, Rory, that's correct. Now, Rory, can you tell me what you think the word undo means? Yes, so Rory thinks the word undo means to take something that is already complete and ruin it. So an example of undo would be, let me erase my whiteboard for 1 second. So if I was to draw a picture of myself for you guys on my board, so I completed drawing this picture of myself. But I don't exactly like how I look in this picture or how I made myself look. So now I'm going to undo it and erase it. So because I did not like the picture, I decided I was going to undo it, and now it's gone. Okay, so does everyone understand undo? Great. Lastly, can anybody tell me what the word tie means? Like you are going to tie your shoes. Okay, so Emma thinks the word tie means to take your shoelaces and make a bunny with it and tie it. That is really great. I agree with that definition. Does everybody else agree? Great. So does everybody in here know how to tie their shoes? Okay, a good amount do. That's okay if you don't yet. Do you guys know how to untie them once they're tied? Great. So what do you guys think the word untie means? Yes, the word untie is when you take your tied shoelaces and undo it. Great job using your previous word undo. Okay, so now that we all know that these 3 words mean without the prefix and with the prefix, what do we think the prefix un means? Does anybody have any guesses? Yes, Brad, that is great. The prefix un means to reverse something or to not do it anymore. So like we said before, when you are happy, if you put the prefix un in front of the word, you are reversing that feeling of happiness and now turning it into sadness. If you are doing something like drawing my stick figure and you put the word un in front of the word, you are reversing this action and undoing what you already completed. So like when we erased my stick figure. And lastly, if you are tying something like your shoelaces and you put the word un in front of the word, you are now untying your shoelaces. So you're taking away what you did and untying it. So do we all understand what the prefix un is? Great. Do we have any questions? Yes, Angela? Okay, class. So Angela wants to know if the word unpack has the same prefix in it. So Angela is curious about unpack. Now, what do you guys think? Does this have the same prefix in it? Correct. So the word unpacked can fit into the same category as our other 3 words of having the same prefix. I'm going to write back down our 3 original words and we can add a few of them that we know have the same prefix. Okay, so we have our words again: unhappy, undo, untie, and now we are adding unpack. We all know unpack from when we pack our backpack for school. We're packing what we need for the day at school, and then when we get to school, we are unpacking it and taking the things out that we are going to need for the day. So we're reversing the action of packing the backpack and taking everything out. Does that make sense to everyone? Great. Now, can you guys discuss with your neighbors for a few moments and try to come up with a few more words that have the prefix un? I'm going to fix up my list so I have room to write a few more examples. Let's try to come up with 2 altogether. Okay, so what words did you guys come up with that have the same prefix un? Unlucky, that is a great one. What else? Unclear, perfect. Those are great examples. Those have the prefix un. Now can anyone here shout out what the word unlucky means? Yes, unlucky means having bad luck or reversing your good luck and no longer having it. What about unclear? Yes, so unclear means it's hard to understand, or you're reversing it being clear and it no longer is clear or easy to understand. Great job, class. Does everyone feel like they have a good understanding of the prefix un? Great, I'm glad everyone understands. Let's now try to come up with another prefix that we can think of. I'm gonna erase my board and you guys try to brainstorm. Okay, so does anybody have any recommendations of another prefix? Yes, Kyle? Okay, great. So Kyle wants to know if the prefix pre is a good one. So what do we all think? Yes, that is a great job, Kyle. Pre is a great prefix. Can we come up with some words that have the prefix pre at the beginning of them? Prepare, that is a great one. What else? Preschool. Any others? One more. Preview. Great job, guys. Okay, so we have prepare, preschool, and preview. Good examples. Thank you guys for sharing. So what do we think the word prepare means? Yes, to make someone or something ready. What about the word preschool? Great, so before school, before you're in kindergarten, you go to preschool. To get you ready to go to school, you're going to somewhere called preschool. Great job, guys. So prior to school, we're going to preschool. What about preview? Great, so when something isn't published yet, we get a little clip of it to see some parts of it that are going to be in the main thing when it comes out. That is a great example. So like a movie preview, you guys are saying. Yes, very well done, guys. So with this information, what do we think the prefix pre means? Great, it means before or prior to. You guys are really getting the hang of this. Does everyone feel comfortable with prefixes and understanding what they are? Great, I'm so glad. We will revisit them in our homework today and again tomorrow. Let me erase my board. We are going to move on to suffixes. Okay, great. Can anybody tell me what they think a suffix is? If you remember, Brad originally thought that the prefix was a suffix, but now we're going to revisit what a suffix actually is. So does anybody have any guesses? Okay, so no one is quite sure what a suffix is, and that's totally fine. I'm going to write 3 new words on my board, and you guys tell me what they have in common. Okay, so our 3 new words are quickly, badly, and bravely. What do you guys think these words have in common? Yes, Ainsley? Good, so all of these words have the ly at the end of them. So can you guys guess why the ly is at the end of the word? Yes, it's a suffix. Great job, guys. Can you guys guess what the suffix is doing to the original word in this case? Angela? Yes, the suffix at the end is telling us how an action is done. So quickly, badly, and bravely are all telling us how something is done. For example, if I was to draw myself like this, I drew myself very quickly because I was going quick and I was doing it very fast. I also drew myself very badly because it's a very bad picture of myself. Everyone who is raising their hand and volunteering to share their opinion and what they think the correct answer is doing that very bravely. They're bravely sharing with us what they think. Can we think of any other words that have the suffix ly at the end to describe how something is done? I'm going to write back down our 3 words and see if you guys can add to them in that time. Okay, so here's our 3 original words. Anybody have any other words they can think of with this suffix? Anybody? Great. So correctly and carefully. Those both have the same suffix of the ly. Great job, guys. So now let's try to move on to a new suffix. Does everybody understand the ly suffix? Great. So everybody gather with their neighbors again and see if you can come up with a few new suffixes. I will give you guys a few moments while I erase my board. Okay, class, so let's bring our attention back to me. Did you guys come up with any suffixes that you can think of? Emma? Yes, so Emma wants to know if les, less, is a suffix. That is a great example. Can we think of a few words that have the suffix less at the end of them? Yes, so you guys, restless, that is a great example. What else? Colorless, perfect. And pointless. Great job, guys. Those all have the suffix les at the end of them. So, with these being said, what does the word restless mean? Yes, being tired or having no rest. What about colorless? Having no color, great job. And lastly, what about pointless? Yes, having no point. Great job, class. Can we think of what we believe the suffix les does to the word? Ashley? Yes, it makes the word have no more meaning of it anymore. So if it had a point, now it's pointless. If it had color, now it's colorless. It has no color. If someone had rest, now they're restless. They have no more rest. Great job, guys. Do we feel like we understand more about what suffixes mean and what they are? Can we come up with one more word with the less? Good, sleepless. That is very similar to restless. It means having no sleep. That is a great one. Does everybody understand suffixes and prefixes? Does anybody have any questions from our lesson today? No, everybody feels pretty confident? Okay, great. So we're going to revisit prefixes and suffixes and learn even more of them tomorrow. Tonight, as your homework assignment, I'm going to need you guys to come up with one prefix and one suffix and provide 2 examples for each of them. Tomorrow, when you come to class, you'll be sharing these with your classmates and I and telling us how you came up with these words and what the examples for them are. Thank you guys so much. Now we are going to be moving on to our next subject of math. Everybody take a couple moments to regather yourself and we will be moving on.